I begin with this image of Nicolas Maduro shouting and directly challenging Donald Trump to come after him to the Miraflores Palace.
Come for me. Miraflores is waiting for you here. Don't take too long to arrive. Coward!
This video gives us the perfect context of what happened early this morning in Venezuela. And it wasn't a coincidence, it was a surgical operation that had been prepared for months in the shadows. They're waiting for you here, coward. Donald Trump spoke earlier and released definitive proof. A photo of Nicolas Maduro handcuffed, wearing a grey Nike sweatshirt and with his eyes covered aboard the United States ship Iwo Jima. What seemed impossible, what many others dreamed of and what others feared finally right now is history. Nicolas Maduro has been captured. Right now we have the details of how this was possible, so I'm going to share with you the details of this operation, which involved more than 150 aircraft, 20 different military bases, and over 100 joint special forces from the United States. Let's talk about why Maduro, despite having a bunker ready, made a fatal mistake at 1 o'clock in the morning that sealed his fate. According to Trump in his statements, we are witnessing the execution of the most complex precision military operation since World War II, which has been called Operation Southern Spear. Anything important? In his public statement, Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State of the United States, sends a very clear message to Gustavo Petro, the President of Colombia. And I also have the response from China and Russia about this incredible operation. To understand what happened at 1 minute past 1 in the morning this Saturday, we first need to go back several months. The CIA did not improvise. Since the summer of 2025, an ultra-secret operational team was inserted into Venezuelan territory with a single mission: the absolute tracking of Nicolas Maduro's life pattern. I'm not just talking about knowing where the Miraflores Palace was, I'm talking about CIA-level surveillance. What did he eat? What time did he wake up? Who were his contacts? More intimate details like constant monitoring of his pets, daily routines, his grooming routines, sports, meetings, the routines of his closest security, even the most trivial things. They had assets within the Venezuelan government itself who acted as direct sources specifically for the CIA. For months, the central team in Washington, made up of the Secretary of State Marco Rubio, the Secretary of Defense Hegseth, and the Director of the CIA John Ratcliffe, met almost daily to analyze this data. Were they waiting for the right moment? It's said that the operation was ready since Christmas 2025, but it was halted by a factor that no general can control: the weather. They waited for the weather conditions to allow a clean insertion and a safe withdrawal for the aircraft. Something very important that many need to understand in the context of this operation. It's exactly what Marco Rubio said, who has been emphatic in saying that for the United States, Maduro was not a sitting president, but a fugitive from justice. The legal basis is not a whim, but the formal execution by the Southern District of New York in 2020 for narco-terrorism, conspiracy to import cocaine, and possession of destructive weapons. In other words, under international law, the operation was not about arresting a president in his own country, which is illegal. Since for the United States, the European Union, and countless other countries, Maduro was not recognized as the president of Venezuela. This allows us to understand the diplomatic context of this operation. Many will also wonder and say, Ari, really? And what about diplomatic immunity? He answered some time ago, by designating the Cartel of the Suns as a foreign terrorist organization in November 2025, Washington removed any diplomatic protection. Maduro went from being a dictator to being a high-value target under United States anti-terrorism laws. Trump and Rubio confirmed that just a week before the assault, Maduro was offered a final off-ramp. And Maduro, in a historic miscalculation, thought that Trump was bluffing and that he would never dare to cross the border with unethical troops.
They're waiting for him. Flores, don't be long, coward.
Today we know that Trump is not playing. Whether people like it or not, while I share with you a compilation of the images that have started circulating on social media since early this morning. I'll give you the details of the operation, which is incredible. And by the way, selecting these images has been very complicated because of the sheer number of images, videos, and fake photos that flooded social media in a matter of hours. I've had to be very careful in verifying each image, each video, and I tell you to be very careful as well. There are images that are simply impossible to detect, whether they're fake or real, whether they're made with guidance or not, except for the source. So be very careful, not everything you see on social media is true. There were images circulating since very early on, showing Maduro getting off a plane and being escorted by 2 Drug Enforcement Administration officers. That photo was fake. Even a well-known Colombian journalist, now a presidential candidate, I'll leave out the name. She posted on social media with a headline claiming the United States was attacking Venezuela, a video that actually belonged to an attack in Tel Aviv last June when Iran attacked with its missiles. So, well, anyone can fall for this. That's why I give my errata statement. If a video or something else slips through, well, just let me know in the comments and we'll publish the errata statement. Because I'm telling you, it's really complex to distinguish what's real and what's not. All right, let's get into the details. After 10:40 p.m. On Friday, the final executive order was given. Trump gave the order. Imagine the scale. 150 aircraft participated. They left from a single location, took off from 20 different military bases, including aircraft carriers as well, coordinating a deadly choreography of steel over the Caribbean. The deployment included long-range bombers and fighter jets to ensure air superiority. Spy planes that saturated the electromagnetic spectrum, gunships flying at low altitude, launched from aircraft carriers to strike strategic targets with pinpoint accuracy. After midnight, electronic warfare began. Intelligence sources indicate the United States used advanced technology to disable Venezuela's Russian and Chinese-made air defense systems. The radars of Venezuela's anti-aircraft batteries, which are made both in Russia and China, the Bug M2S meant to defend Caracas, were blinded within seconds. It was a total blackout of communications, radios, and defenses. The blackout also affected a large part of the residential areas surrounding the strategic targets. More than 150 aircraft made their way from the aircraft carriers anchored off the Venezuelan coast as they cleared the path. Once they passed the coast and entered the mountainous areas, heading toward the capital, toward Caracas, the planes and the space spy drones went ahead, literally shutting everything down by the time the first aircraft reached the targets. In the midst of the darkness, they realized they still had the element of surprise. Simply put, the Revolutionary Guard and the army didn't realize that 150 aircraft had slipped into their territory until the helicopters were already over all the targets. That's when the forces loyal to the Chavista regime realized, while the kinetic attacks distracted the high command with explosions at Fuerte Tiuna and La Carlota, the real target was being surrounded. At 1:01 in the morning, the elite forces of Delta Force and the FBI's hostage rescue team descended on Maduro's location. Here the details become dramatic.
More information at www. Shit, what a crazy drunk.
Shit, these bugs are really messing with us.
These bugs are messing with us.
I swear to you, the American helicopters, the multi-mission helicopter, 77S, the famous Chinooks and Black Hawks, were met with heavy fire once they came in to land in the area. By the security rings most loyal to the regime, one helicopter was hit by fire, but it was able to stay in the air. Maduro, realizing the attack was real and large, ran to a fortified bunker in his compound. He managed to get inside, but the operation was so fast that he couldn't close the bunker door in time. the Delta forces, equipped with breaching technology that could blow open armored steel doors in seconds. Well, they didn't have to use their heaviest explosives, they simply burst in before the locking mechanism finished its cycle. In a matter of seconds, Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, were neutralized and taken out of their bedroom. Immediately, the airborne forces received the message that they had the targets and the evacuation deployment began. The exit phase, known as Lexfield, was not as smooth as the entry. There were intense clashes with Venezuelan units that attempted a desperate rescue. 2 American operatives were injured in the crossfire, but it was later confirmed that they were out of danger. Oh, they're invading us. However, the air cover provided by the American gunships prevented any movement by Chavista troops, who were simply overwhelmed. Nobody understood what was happening. Another one is coming.
Another one is coming. Another one is coming.
By 3:29 in the morning, the targets were already safe aboard the aircraft carrier United States ship Iwo Jima, sailing toward New York. Trump, who followed the capture in real time from Mar-a-Lago with his generals, compared the experience to watching a television show. Because of the clarity of the tactical transmissions coming from Venezuela. The photo that circulated afterward was total confirmation, and moreover, it is absolutely inconsistent with the typical anti-imperialist rhetoric. Maduro appears captured, handcuffed, and wearing a gray Nike sweatshirt, an icon of American imperialism, as he would have said. There you can see him holding a bottle of water, his eyes covered by an opaque mask and large headphones to isolate him sensorially. This photo is not just proof of life, it's proof of a criminal judicial detention. What's next? Trump? It's been clear. The United States is going to govern Venezuela immediately to prevent chaos. A statement that can spark all kinds of comments. He said, literally, we're going to govern the country until we can make a safe, proper, and sensible transition. This is what he stated from Mar-a-Lago in his formal remarks a couple of hours ago. According to him, he doesn't want the power vacuum to be filled by another criminal faction. It is known that Washington is already in talks with people, according to them, specifically to restore order, although no names have been given. Their intention, they say, is to establish a junta to stabilize the nation before handing over power to figures like Edmundo González Urrutia, who is officially the recognized president, or Maria Corina Machado, who is the vice president. The United States military forces remain active and on high alert throughout the area, ready to act in the event of any attempted internal coup, led by Diosdado Cabello or by Vladimir Padrino Lopez, who stayed there and are still trying to understand how all of this happened to them. Something very important that came out in the official statements from Trump and Marco Rubio is that they have sent a clear message to Gustavo Petro. In Colombia, they have pointed out that the Colombian government is allowing record levels of drug production, playing a dangerous game similar to Maduro's. The warning is transparent and very clear. What just happened in Caracas is a mirror of what could happen to any regional leader who turns their state into a platform for drug trafficking and the export of instability to the United States. For Washington, the capture of Maduro is a new dawn and a reminder that borders do not protect those they consider international criminals. And what about the world powers? Russia has cried out about a violation of international law, but its ability to maneuver is practically non-existent. Trump, with his pragmatic style, has told both China and Russia not to worry about their debts or about the oil supply, which in the end is what matters to them. Trump claims that the plan is simple in his own words, and what he said at the press conference is that under the control of the United States, Venezuela will once again become a productive oil power. He said verbatim that they would make Venezuela produce a lot of oil again, and that would ultimately benefit both Russia and China. Problem solved just like that. From my position here in Israel, I can't help but mention the comment by Yair Lapin, who said the regime in Iran should pay attention to what's happening in Venezuela right now. It's a clear warning. If Maduro's bunker wasn't enough to stop the United States Special Forces, the Ayatollah's bunker won't be enough to stop Israel's Special Forces either. The operation on January 3, 2026 not only removed a dictator, it erased a way of doing politics based on impunity. The United States has crossed the Rubicon. It has shown that it has the intelligence to track down every last detail of a leader's life, and the strength to pull him out of his own bed in minutes. So, well, the plain reading is this: the world is no longer the same. The era of economic sanctions has given way to the era of kinetic judicial extraction. While Maduro awaits his trial in Manhattan, what is already being discussed, what is being officially shared, is that the minimum sentence would be 50 years and the maximum sentence would be life imprisonment. Either way, it seems that freedom will not return. Meanwhile, well, the economic situation. The rest of the authoritarian leaders around the world are wondering if their steel door will close fast enough the next time or when they come for them. I'm sure right now, many political leaders, businessmen, friends from both the inner circle of Venezuela's Chavismo under Nicolas Maduro and those who are abroad in other countries must be terrified right now because of what might happen from now on. Because without a doubt, Nicolas Maduro will start talking and his partners, accomplices and friends won't be able to stop it. Subscribing to this channel is important. We'll follow all the details as they happen. Not only with this whole story that has just begun with Maduro's capture, but also with what's happening right now in Iran, which has caused Israel to go on high alert. So subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you know when I upload. Don't leave without giving a like. See you.